So I was asked a question this morning by a YouTube follower. How do you sell your art in cafes? Well, Trent River, this is for you. I have had probably 50 some odd years of experience in various forms of selling art. In the earlier years, of course, at school, art shows at school, community art shows, and lots of art fairs. And I would say it probably never amounted to much in those earlier days. But in 2007, I was having this crazy little habit, like so many people do, of stopping at my local cafe on the way into the GO train in the morning and heading into Toronto to the banking district to do some adulting for the day, you know, work, sit in a cubicle, just passing the hours away. I'd stop at a cafe on the way and have a coffee or have breakfast, a couple of poached eggs, white toast or rye, a little bit of tea. Perfect way to start any good day. And I noticed on the walls were really empty. And at the time, this was at PJ's Diner in Whitby on Brock Street. And they had never really given any thought to having art on the wall. And I guess for me, I had never really given any thought to it either. But on this particular day, I was sitting there sipping my tea and having my poached eggs. And it occurred to me, like a light bulb going off above my head. Hey, you know, I wonder if Jordan would let me put some of my art on his walls. Decorate the restaurant, give it a little bit more character, and I'd get some exposure for my art. So I asked Jordan, and right away Jordan was like all gung-ho about it. But then he started thinking, well, what about, you know, insurance? What about if somebody steals a painting? Or what if somebody squirts ketchup on one of those beautiful oil paintings? And that was what really kind of gave Jordan hesitance, and I immediately addressed that with, you know, look, if you'll put my art on your wall, if you'll let me put my art on your wall, I will completely take all of the responsibility of it, and I won't give you any of that risk to worry about. Well, sure, if that's the way it's going to be, let's do it. And of course, we got my art on the wall, and that led to 7 of the most beautiful liquid years of selling art. And it wasn't long after that, it wasn't long after that initial setup that I was able to leave TD Bank and pursue my art full time. Of course, there were other factors. The internet was becoming a thing. Websites were becoming a thing for artists. And I took advantage of absolutely all of it. But the cafes became a very, very important aspect of selling art for me. Now, how does that work? How do you get your art into a cafe? And once it's there, how do you go about selling it? I see it all the time. I see artists' art, and beside their art is a little card with the title of the painting and the size. And rumbly motors going down Brock Street. It's summer after all, and it's a beautiful day. And sometimes they have their email or their website, but I wanted to put my art up there with no inhibitors whatsoever. So I didn't put title, I didn't put size or price. I feel like those are the things that discourage people from taking that next step, because immediately price can be an inhibitor, the size can be an inhibitor, the title, even the title can be an inhibitor, because sometimes when people look at a painting they have an idea of where it is, but once the title is there, it stops their imagination. So I started putting my paintings up on the wall with just a little card on it with my website. That's it. Just my website. And then what would happen, the craziest thing, people would be coming in and having their coffee, and they would sit down and they'd notice the art, and then they'd go about drinking their coffee again, forget all about it. Then tomorrow or the next day, they'd come back and they'd notice the art again. And after, 7 or 8 times, they'd start to really kind of become fond of something in specific. One of the paintings appeals to them. Now there's a rule in marketing that for every 10 people that see your message, your product or whatever, one will be interested, and they might respond. If you jump that up to 100 people, 10 people will be interested, and out of the 10, probably 2 of them will go forward and purchase. At the very least, they will inquire. If you ramp that up to 1,000, then you'll have about 100 people who are interested, and so on and so forth. Now, like anything in marketing, it's not absolute. It doesn't happen always exactly like that, but that's a pretty reliable rule of thumb. And with that being the case, any good cafe, any good diner that has 200 or 300 people a day coming through, that's 2,000 to 3,000 people a week. That's 28 to 24,000 people per month that will see your art that otherwise would never see it. That's not in a gallery, off in some remote, snotty location that nobody wants to go to. No, this is a real place where real people go every day and have their coffee and have their poached eggs, like me. For 7 years, that little diner became the most liquid place that I've ever sold paintings. And of course, me being me, I take an idea and I run with it. So I got my work into quite a few cafes. At the start of all of that, I also happened to have been approached by this gentleman who was one of the higher ups at the CN Tower. See what I did there? A little pun, very little pun. And he was purchasing a couple of paintings for his home in Toronto. And when I delivered the paintings, we had a brief little discussion where he introduced the idea of possibly setting up the inside wall of the 360 restaurant at the top of the CN Tower with Maccabee paintings. You see, when you go to the 360 at the top of the tower, the floor rotates around once per hour, so you see the whole city out the windows. But when you look at the inside wall, there's nothing on the wall. And we both thought it would be a great idea to put some Canadian art on that wall. It had never been done before, and to the best of my knowledge, it's never been since either. But that also went for 7 years, where people from around the world were sitting there having their steak or their fancy burgers at 360 restaurant, and when they might have got a little tired of looking out the window, they might have looked at the walls and noticed more rumbly mufflers. And I sold paintings all around the world to visitors from 360 Restaurant, and also to locals, because everybody goes to the CN Tower. It works because these are real places where real people go every day. And that is the critical aspect. I want to say there's two things that are important here. Be seen and be in real places where the most amount of people can see your work. Now, all those other avenues are good, and they have their purpose. Galleries, local art shows, outdoor art festivals. Lord knows I've done my share. Rain, sun, shine, sleet, hurricane. I've had my tents blown to pieces and paintings blown across the field. I've been there, done that. But the most effective way by far has always been the beautiful relationship with the local cafe and diner. And have a good relationship with the owner. Make sure you're comfortable with them. Make sure they like you. Make sure you're pleasant. And change the paintings up from time to time, so that people have a fresh look every 2 or 3 months or so. Rotate the paintings. And don't put prices on them. Don't put titles, just your website. You'll find that people will be drawn to your website, and then they'll see the broader catalog of your availability. And with that, you may find that you sell a painting now and then. So that's my advice, and if you have any other questions, just put them in the comments. Let me know what you'd like to know about selling art and how it's done, and save yourself a whole lot of heartaches. Take it from a guy with lots of scars on my back. I've been there and done that. Anyway, I'm going to carry on this beautiful day, and well, today I'm just out taking photographs with my old Rolleiflex. Let's see what comes up. Have a great day, everybody.